Everybody, just want to welcome you to Week 6, Module 6 for ME 171 Design of Elements. So within this module here, we're going to continue on with static body stresses and take a look at a couple different example problems within this chapter. So some bookkeeping items for this week. You have your quiz number 6. This has been posted to Blackboard and will be due on the 12th by 4 p.m. Also, this week you will have your first exam. The first exam will be released on Thursday, March 11th at 9:30 a.m. and it will be due 2 hours later on March 11th by 11:30 p.m. Now, a couple of you have talked to me about some scheduling conflicts and the need for extra time. So within that, what I've decided to do was the exam will actually be open at 9 a.m. and go till 2 p.m. So this should take into account any extra needs that people have or any scheduling conflicts that may be occurring. So the way this is going to work is once you start that exam, it lets me know and sets the time of when you opened that to start it. You will have exactly 2 hours from when you open that exam to when it needs to be complete. So pick your time frame within that window of opportunity from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. of when you have 2 hours straight through to do it, because the grader will be looking at when you start the exam and when you finish the exam. It needs to be within that 2-hour time frame right there. So just a reminder also, I do have office hours scheduled on Thursdays after our class from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Now, if you're not able to meet during these times, please send me a message or an email or a chat on Teams. We'll find a time that does work for both of us. Also, the TA does have office hours on Wednesdays from 10 to 11:30 a.m. So in that hour-and-a-half slot, if you have any questions related to your grading, homeworks, things of that nature, the TA is the one who's be grading your exams and your homeworks. Please reach out to him as well during his office hours. So as we jump into this module here, again, it's going to be the same topics that we covered in the last module, looking at the static body stresses right there. But we're going to look here and focus within this module 6 at direct shear loading and torsional loading and go through some applications and do some hand solutions to a couple different problems, applying those general equations to it and seeing how we can utilize a lot of the theory that we've been talking about in the previous modules. So as you're reading through your textbook, this relates back to Chapter 4, Sections 1 through 14 in your textbook there. So as we get into Module 6.1, again, continuing on with static body stresses, talking about direct shear. So I'm going to go through a little bit more information, a little bit more governing equations and theories for direct shear, and then jump into some example problems and show how to apply those equations to that for these direct shear problems. Then we'll get into some new concept talking about torsional deformation and go through some example problems and my hand solutions for these torsional deformations. So again, within this, discuss the theory for those two topics, go over the governing equations, talk about some practical applications, and then go through some of my hand solutions. So as we get into Module 6.2, this time frame during the class is going to be used for your exam number 1. So this will be your first midterm. It'll consist of 2 problems. We'll be covering materials up through Chapter 4 that we've talked about so far in our textbook here, and this will cover modules 1 through 5 in the lectures right there. So this exam will be released on Blackboard on March 11th at 9:30 a.m. and we do at 11:30 p.m. But as we just discussed previously, I'm actually going to make it available at 9 a.m. and go till 2 p.m. with this here to take into account anybody who needs some extra time for this exam, or if people have a couple of scheduling conflicts with classes right before or right after this class right there. So again, normally this would be an in-class exam. So this is the remote equivalent of an in-class exam. I was just going to try to give you an extra half an hour to account for the technology issues of scanning in your problems and uploading them through. So normally you'd have 90 minutes. I'm giving you 2 hours. But again, if you have scheduling conflicts with a class right before or right after, I have extended that from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. But again, you have 2 hours unless you have special circumstances to complete that exam from whenever you start it. So this will be submitted through Blackboard, the same as any of your homework assignments.